welcome back to the Key and Jake Booked Podcast. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and today we have some somber news on the day. This is gonna be our first very episode where we talk about our DNF in our first book in the fantasy series. We haven't DNF the thriller yet, but we want to be respectful, right? This episode, we don't want to ruffle no feathers. We'll just say, in the coming arguments of why this book was DNF'd. I'm not gonna throw my co-host under the bus. I'll let her explain herself. It will get into that. But how was your week, though?
My week was fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. Work as usual. I had a really great weekend. How was your week and weekend, Jay?
Week was fine, man. We finished up the football season this year. We finished 9-1.
Yes.
Happy about that. Glad the
Congratulations.
glad the season is done. JV doesn't have playoffs out here, so that was kind of the end of that. I'm happy football is over because now I can kind of get into more reading, doing what I need to do instead of picking them up every day at practice and in games and all that. So now the weekend was fine, just slow. It's gonna be like that a lot now. I can get into my reading bag this year, but
Yes.
I can't wait, man. Can't wait till we start our next book. But let's let the people know why we're here today. Listen, y'all. I finished the book, right? I was rereading the book. And I ain't gonna throw my co-host under the bus because she got her own reasons. But we have DNF The Coven by Harper L. I know everybody was waiting for our episode that should have been dropping tomorrow, but instead you're listening to this episode here. I read the book. I had my own issues with the book, but I got through it. But I'm going to leave this one to my co-host. I'm going to let her run the table on this one. Go ahead and explain to the people the decision.
Okay, so one of the things that made me DNF Coven was the world building in this book. I didn't feel like it really made any sense. First of all, it comes with the name of the book is The Coven, but the Coven, which is the group of witches, is ran by something called the Covenant. The covenant is a promise. That's the definition of that. So I didn't really even understand why the name of this group that governs the witches is called the Covenant. Number two, the Covenant is ran by two dead skeletons. That was never explained. Why? Who? And it was just like in the beginning, in the prologue, it's explained that someone named, let's see, where's her name? I guess I didn't write it down, but someone resurrected George Collins and Susanna. They resurrected them when they were dead to run the Coven of Witches. And later on, we find out there's all these witches come because the Covenant sends out summons like, we need you all back to Hollows Grove University. And I was just like, why would none of these witches run the Covenant? Why do we have two skeletons running the Coven of Witches? That didn't really make sense to me. That was never really explained enough for me to feel good about it. And the part that I left out on was actually, like, I got to chapter 10, but the point when I knew I was going to DNF it was chapter 9. The main character, Willow, went from, her mission was, they don't know that she is part of the Black family, like the family of necromancers. And her plan is to go to Hollows Grove, find these bones, and take down the vessels or whatever. And then in chapter 9, she's just like, okay, I've got my plan, seduce the vessel. Something that I'm like, wait, seduce the vessel. Where did that come from? Like, I know it's a smut book, but the smut was not introduced correctly, in my opinion. Like, first she goes from hating the vessel, which is the guy, and Gray, and then next thing you know, she's saying to the other guy, what is his name, Keon or whatever the heck his name is. I'm getting frustrated. She's like, yeah, do you want to fuck me? I was like, what? Where did this come from? Like, you were just fighting this guy. Why are you trying to have sex with him already? And I wasn't mad that it was a book about sex, sex is in it, but it just didn't make sense. And ultimately, it was just the world building. The fact that the Coven is ran by these witches and it's ran by the Covenant, which is two skeletons. Then when the witch, and I put this in my fable notes. I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just remembering everything. In the beginning, the Covenant sends out summons because they need 12 people to come back to the school, right, Jay? They said, we're only sending this invitation to 12 people. That's it. So when Gray starts listing off the families, two from this, he gets to 12. And then he says, and I was only able to get one from the Green family. That one made 13 people. I'm like, I thought you said 12 students. Why is it 13 then? That didn't make any sense to me. That was a plot hole. You said 12. He gathered 13. Why? Then Willow's dad, right? He says, you need to get revenge for your aunt. That's her whole point in going back to the school, right? To, resurrect her aunt's bones and take down the vessels. And he says she did everything to protect me from making the choice of whether or not I was able to do my magic or have kids. And the point is, he still doesn't have magic. Remember, she says that it skipped him and went to Willow. So I'm thinking your sister kidnapped you to stop you from making this choice between choosing between your magic and having kids. Like she kidnapped you away and you got away and you still don't have magic. So what was the point of that? What was the point? What did she really save you from? And then it was everybody being like, oh my, like she was afraid that her brother Ash was going to have to make this choice. Oh my God, she's going to have to make the choice between having kids or magic. And I was just like, this was done on Wizards of Waverly Place and there was no conflict. He just went on to live a happy, fulfilling life with his family and his kids. Why was that just, she's willing to fight to the death to save her brother from making a choice of, hey, do you want to keep your magic or do you want to go on and further father children? They could adopt. I don't know. Like, I just, the whole thing just didn't make sense. And I found every single chapter, I kept having a problem with every single thing that Willow said, that she did, that Gray said, and Gray did. There was this part where she claims that her mother faked her death to get away from the coven by burning a
Mhm.
human alive, by murdering a human, and she tried to make it better. Well, the human abused her daughter. I don't care. She didn't deserve to be used as a sacrifice for your mother escaping, and it just made me mad that she was trying to justify, well, the woman was abusive and my mom just had to get away because the coven is so bad. I'm like, what is so bad about the coven? And if it's so bad, then why when they sent out all these summons to these witches that everybody come? Like, it was like, why didn't anybody else have any hesitation going back to the coven or to this school? Everybody who he summoned came. So it was just, what is so bad about the covenant? What's so bad about the coven? I just got too far into the book with no explanation. It wasn't making sense. And I found myself too frustrated to continue reading the book. But that's ultimately why I DNF'd it. I didn't like the world building. I didn't like any of the characters. Some of the things they did didn't make sense. The sex being introduced was very awkward. It went from she had a mission and then it became seduce the vessel. I felt like that was just really, really weird. He was too sexual with her right off the bat. And then it was just, there was this part where they were in the forest and he bit her. I thought that was a monumental thing and it was just brushed off. He bit her, she got up, rubbed some dirt in it, and that was it. I'm like, wait. She's never been bitten. She's a virgin. Isn't this like a big thing? And it was just skipped over. Like, oh, okay, yeah, he bit her, and they just went about their business. Like, what? What? And then what is the relationship between the vampires and the witches? Like, or the vessels, He feeds off of the witches, but they hate each other. And I kept thinking, okay, he feeds off of the witches. What are they getting from the vessels? What is the benefit? They're saying, oh, we're trapped together. It's we're trapped in here together. We have to use each other to survive. But I'm thinking the vessels survive off of the witches. But what are the witches getting? Especially because it seemed like in the beginning, Willow was kicking his ass. He's supposed to be this strong, smart guy. She got away from him twice. And then all of a sudden he gets all this power and he's super strong. Where was that strength 2 chapters ago? So I just kept finding stuff that I felt like was plot holes. It just didn't make sense. And like I said, I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the stuff that they were doing. And it just became one of those books where I didn't want to be that person who I'm continuing to read a book that I absolutely hate. And then at the end, I'm giving it a scathing review when I knew early on that I wasn't going to like the book. Sorry, y'all. That
Like
was it.
I feel like a rapper. Keep going. I feel like we at the radio station and she freestyling.
I think
Keep
that's it.
going.
I think that's it. But it was just, I don't know, Jay. I mean, you really liked the book. What were some things that you really, really liked that you felt like you wanted to pick this series back up and continue it and see it through?
I think it has a good resolution. It has a great ending. To me,
Okay.
it has a great ending because when
Okay.
you get to the ending, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I got to pick up the next book to see it.
Okay.
I share your sentiments, but I was in my I was at my university. I call it Audible University. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? My car ride. So it was just like one of them books that I picked up. I didn't really want to. I don't really go to other people for their reviews, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw it, and I just kind of wanted to listen to the book myself, and it was just in my Riders University, and I thugged through it. It was difficult to pick up. There are some parts where I was a little befuddled. I didn't really understand it, but I just kind of kept pushing through. And then once I got to the middle, it was just like listening to it on the ride. It's like I'm 30 minutes here, I'm 45 minutes here,
Yeah.
back and forth to work, just to the store, anywhere I needed to go. So it was just like it's just one of those things that kept playing. And I saw it through. Now it
Mm-hmm.
was difficult to get through. In a respectful manner, I feel like the book might have not just been for us, for you. I got through it. Now, if I was reading it like how you was reading it, I probably would have DNF'd it too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely
Because it
think
was
listen
difficult
to it is
to,
different. Yeah.
yeah, listening to it and then hearing them the way they talk, it was just a funny thing.
Yeah.
I understand the frustrations you had with going through the book and trying to figure out what's this, what's this. I don't know if she wanted that to be the plot of the book to kind of get through it. I don't know. This is her art, this is her work, and she wrote it. She put it out there for us to discuss. That's probably gonna be people that, telling us to keep reading, but it's too late. We DNF the book. When my co-hosts say we DNF the book, we DNF the book. Disrespect to the author in any way, sometimes books just isn't for us. Everything isn't for everybody. People got their own way of thinking, people got their own way of reading and what they like and what captures them, through the first couple chapters. And I listened to it. I know if I read it, like I said, I wouldn't have been able to finish the book. And obviously proofs in the pudding, you didn't get the chance to do it. Well, give me all right, but let's say give me one thing that you liked about the book thus far. Because we read chapters 1 through 10
Mhm.
so far. But what is some of the thing? Give me one thing that you liked about the book.
I really like the short chapters.
Wow.
No, I
Wow.
really did.
Okay.
There's
That
something about short chapters that just it makes me fly through the book, and
hey yo, you talk
it
about
makes
cancel.
it's
Double X.
I really like the short chapters. I'm trying to think if there was anything that I just really, really
Gray
enjoyed or something
chasing her
that
through
I
the forest, her digging in the ground, grabbing the dirt,
Yes, I
having the
will say
branches fight for her.
she has dark red hair.
Uh-huh.
And she can control the ground and the leaves and stuff like that, and she did remind me of a character off of Sky High. I don't know if you've seen that Disney Channel movie. It's a Disney Channel movie. It's a high school about kids with paranormal powers, and there is a character, she also has red hair, and she controls the plants and the vines and things like that. So, when she was doing her magic with the trees and commanding them and putting her hands to the ground, I did think that was really cool because it did remind me of that Sky High movie, and in those moments when she was fighting for her brother, I really admired her because I've told you before, I'm a big sister and I love my brother like that. Like anything I can do to help and save my brother, I'm gonna freaking do it. So I really, really like that, the short chapters. But yeah, and I will say too, this is a thing that I'm finding when it comes to fantasy. You have to be patient. And I know that I can be impatient when it comes to fantasy. And that's why I don't even tell people don't read the book because of the reasons I didn't like it. The all the things that I had problems with that I had questions about, it could be that these things are explained later in the book, in the other series. That's the thing about fantasy. It's just you kind of are going to be a little bit confused in the beginning because the author is building this world. This is their world and they're writing it for us to understand. But of course, we're not living in their head. So some things will be confusing. I think it just
It won't
how
hit.
I decide if I'm going to DNF a book or not is okay, I'm confused, but is the book interesting enough for me to still want to read past that confusion? And because there's been almost even Fourth Wing, there were parts of that, Iron Flame especially, that I was like, what the heck is going on? But I was enjoying the book overall. So the confusion did not detract from my enjoyment of the book. In this book, it started to be every chapter I kept having questions and I was like, this doesn't make sense. I don't like this. And again, if it's every single chapter, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having fun reading it. It's not interesting to me. And again, like Jay said, this is my opinion. This is not us telling anybody to not read the book. This is no disrespect to the author. This is just my opinion. When I feel that way, that I'm like, eh. And again, I'm one of those people who I get on Goodreads and I see those scathing reviews, Jay, where it's like literally they be writing books in the comment section of the reviews. And I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those people that writes a book about everything I hated when I knew early on, okay, this may not be the book for me. And I'm one of those readers. I'm not afraid to DNF because I would rather put it down and not disrespect the author by just tearing the book apart after finishing it. I'd rather just DNF it and just say, hey, these are some things I didn't like, that didn't vibe with me personally, but that doesn't necessarily even mean that it's a bad book either.
That's what I'm talking about. Listen, man, that is pretty much it. Like we didn't mean no disrespect, to the author, to Miss Woods. We just, we couldn't get through the book. That's not to say that it's not a good book, it's not a good series. You should check it out. If everything you should check out for yourself, right? Don't
Exactly.
take our opinion for it. We just telling us our opinion and what we thought about the book. That doesn't mean everybody else got to go ahead and DNF the book because we didn't get through the book. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
we was
Exactly.
respectful with it. Again, check it out yourself, The Coven by Harper L. Woods. And we will have a book for you guys. It'll be next week. We ain't even gonna tell y'all because we don't want nobody to be like, oh, they might DNF the next book. You're just gonna see the video drop.
Well,
The video gonna
that's the
just drop and
first
that's
book
it.
that's the first book too that we've even DNF'd on
Won't be
our
the
book
last.
podcast. And like I was
Right.
gonna say that it may not be the last. This is the very first book. And as you can see, Jay got through it when he did the audiobook and I didn't. And that's what makes this podcast so amazing because me and
Uh-huh.
him, we love to read, but we have different opinions on books. And so You'll get a little bit of Jay, you get a little bit of me, but hopefully people watching and listening can relate to one, if not both of us, because we are the same in that we love books, but we have different opinions. He was able to get through it, listen to the audiobook. He may not even reading it have wanted to DNF it, but I will, or I did. But that's the beauty in reading. It's subjective. Things that I like, he may not like. Things that he like, I may not like, and that's okay.
That's right. And next week we will have a book review for y'all. We will have a book. I'm not even gonna announce it now. The episode is just dropping, and you'll see what we're getting into it. And then we'll tell y'all in that episode, this is the book we reading, right? We ain't even gonna do
Yep.
another episode of like a
So
preview.
bad. We got this
Nah, we ain't
all
even gonna do
over.
that
Like
again.
we were so
So good.
excited. Yeah, yeah.
Word, it's so
Lesson
good. It's
learned.
all good. It's all good, man. But we'll be back next week for
We
sure
sure will.
with a full book review episode, chapters, whatever, for
Mhm.
whatever book we
Uh-huh.
decide. We still working on it, but it'll be there next week, next Monday. Tune in, man. Thank you again, man. Appreciate you
Thank
stopping
you.
by with us. You know what I'm saying? We love y'all. We thank y'all for supporting us. And again, hopefully we didn't ruffle no feathers. We didn't disrespect nobody because this is all
Exactly.
love and respect. But until next week, y'all, she's that reader. I'm just a speaker. Peace.
Bye.